Hi, welcome to the galley. Today I want to talk to you about roasting your own pumpkins because it is so simple to do. And trust me when I tell you, it tastes way better than the canned pumpkin. And the canned pumpkin is not always 100% pumpkin. They use a lot of other squash as filler. So let's just jump right into it and get these pumpkins roasted. Now, when you go looking for your pumpkins to roast, you want to look for the little ones and you want to look to see if they have a sticker that they're either going to say pie pumpkin or sugar pumpkin. And of course, I always look for that USA, product of the USA sticker. And that's the kind of pumpkin that you need to do. Now, you can use those big jack-o'-lanterns, but they have a whole lot of water, so you might end up having to like put them in cheesecloth and wring that water out, and why bother? The pumpkins, for pie pumpkins, they have much thicker wall and they're sweeter, and that's just what they're designed for. Now, I got super lucky because the farm stand had these. This is a Cherokee tan pumpkin, and if you stumble across a Cherokee tan pumpkin, they make the best pumpkin puree, pumpkin pies. They are delicious. Now, I got all of these pumpkins. These I got for 2 for $5 at the grocery store, and this pumpkin was $2 at the farm stand. So this is going to be a whole lot of pumpkin puree. We're going to have fun making a lot of stuff with all this pumpkin puree. But let's just jump right into it. Now, if you feel nervous, where's my knife? If you feel nervous about cutting your pumpkin, if it feels like that's something that's a little daunting to you, you can just roast this whole. And all you want to do is cut a couple vent holes in it, just like that. And you can roast the whole thing whole. When it cools down and you pull the skin off, you just kind of want to break it in half and then scoop your seeds out that way. But today we're going to cut these in half. And sometimes I find if you have a really nice serrated knife, that your serrated knife is a good way to cut through your pumpkins. And then I like my little ice cream scoop to scoop out my seeds. Now, another trick I have seen is using a bottle opener to scrape. And that does a good job of finishing up getting those fine strands out of there. Now, this is fine. You don't have to make it meticulous. But let's cut into this one just so we can see the difference. And this one is already a little harder, but I've had those pumpkins for probably 3 weeks. And now I'm so glad that I waited to do this video, so I had these two to compare. And now you can already see the difference in the color. You can see the difference in how thick this wall is and how much puree this beauty is going to give us. And even the seeds are different. You've got a much tinier seed in this one. As you can see the difference in the seeds. So again, if you stumble across the Cherokee tan pumpkin, it's the pumpkin you want to get. Let me get these de-seeded and then we'll get them in the oven. So I've got my oven on 400 degrees. I put a little parchment paper on my baking sheet just to make cleanup easier. And I'm just putting my pumpkins face down. Now, you don't have to put them face down. You can put them face up. It's absolutely, either way is fine. And if you have to, if you need the space, you can cattywampus them. It's not a big deal. And I'm going to go and set my timer for 40 minutes. Now, I have a feeling these are going to take longer to cook than these, but I'm going to go ahead and start them all together, and then I'll pull off the ones just because that's a whole lot more pumpkin. I wish you could just tell the difference. I wonder what the weight is. Let's do that. Let's do that. Sometimes you just want to know the difference. All right, so I had to get my glasses, otherwise I can't read the scale. So this is the half of the sugar pumpkin, and it weighs 1 pound. And this is a half of my Cherokee Tan, and it weighs 2 pounds. So obviously, there's a lot more pumpkin in those Cherokee Tans. I was so excited when I stumbled upon it at the farm stand. Okay, here we go. You do not need to poke these. You do not need to oil these, and you do not need to salt these. All you have to do is throw them in the oven, just like this. Set your timer for 45 minutes. So my timer for 45 minutes went off, and I'm going to do a check, and I just want to be able to, without any pressure at all, push my knife down through, and you see how easy that went. And those, see, I'm meeting some resistance. So they're almost there, and they're all good. So I'm going to pull these off and put my other ones back in for probably another 15 minutes, and then we'll let these cool down so we can touch them. So my timer went off, and so now you can see it's just perfect. So I'm going to let these cool down. I can tell you these have been sitting here for 15 minutes, and they are still hot to the touch. Where'd that knife go? Oh, it's right there. So let me show you how easy they peel. This is just like that. Just the skin's just going to peel right off. Now, there's several methods to puree this. You can do a food mill. You can just do your handheld potato masher. You could do your stick blender. You could do your ricer, which would take a long time, but honestly, I don't think it takes longer than my food processor because, you know, I have the world's tiniest food processor. But ultimately, this is just what I tend to use. It just seems to be a lot easier, I guess. And just because, especially because mine's so small, I have to work in a lot of batches. And that's all we're going to do is pop it in there and puree it. Now you're going to have to open your lid and help it a little bit at first to get it going. And there she is, beautiful homemade pumpkin puree. I'm really excited to taste the difference in the Cherokee and these. But I'm going to work on getting these pureed while those cool down, and then we'll be back to puree these so we can see the beautiful color that they are. Well, I got a lot of pumpkin puree, but I forgot to tell you, if you have chickens, make sure you feed them your seeds. And I'm told that pumpkin seeds are a natural dewormer for chickens. So don't let your seeds go to waste, especially if you have chickens. All right, so this is the final product for the Cherokee, and I don't know if you can see that beautiful color, but it's almost like it's I put some food dye in it. It's this that beautiful. And I could eat this just like this. There is absolutely no seasoning in this, and this tastes amazing. I didn't taste this one. And it's good, but it's not that. So if you find a Cherokee Tan pumpkin, that's the one that you want. That's amazing. That is so good. So this is what I got from the 2 sugar pumpkins. I got 2 pints and this much. And then from my 1 Cherokee Tan, I got 2 pints and this much. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these 2 together and make some apple butter. Doesn't that sound good? So you cannot can pumpkin puree. If you wanted to can your pumpkin, you have to chop it up raw and can it that way. But you can freeze it, and I find like if you just freeze it in a Ziploc bag and then smush it flat, and then it just doesn't take up a lot of space in your freezer, and it'll freeze for up to a year. I put my lid on and use my little vacuum sealer to seal it, and I've had it in the refrigerator for like 3 months that way. Just make sure, because this is not cool, and you do not want to put a lid on this and put it in the refrigerator. You want to let it cool before you put any kind of a lid on it. And now it's time to get busy making fun things with pumpkin puree. I hope you make your own pumpkin puree. It is easy and worth it. And we'll see you guys later. And until next time, safe cruising.